Hi, my name's Neil. This is my wife Lauren,
Hi.
and we're just here to tell you a story about rhabdomyolysis.
The worst thing ever.
It's pretty bad.
How did you get rhabdomyolysis, Neil?
It's an amazing story that I'd like to recount for you now, and it all started in October of 2013. At that time, I was involved in some CrossFit related activities. I'd probably been about 15 or 20 times before the incident happened. And I don't feel like I was in any way a very fit person. I was just sort of an average guy who wanted to be more fit, so I'm like, CrossFit is the way to go. So anyway, it was a Friday afternoon, and I went there at lunch, and it was actually November rather than October, just to be clear, because it was Remembrance Day week in Canada, and they were commemorating the memory of our veterans by having extreme workouts. So I got to be part of that, and so I went I went at lunch, and we did a lot of working out, a lot of hard workouts. I did like 5 sets of 15 pull-ups, and then yeah, exactly, and then 5 sets of these kind of dumbbell thrusting things plus warm up activities, and so that was a lot for me.
How did you feel while you were doing that?
I felt very hurting.
Did everyone finish the workout?
No, some people were like, "That's enough. I'm leaving," and I was like, "I'm gonna finish this workout. I am gonna finish this workout," and everyone else was like, "Finish this workout."
They were like making you finish.
Encouraging me to finish, and they were like, "See that girl over there? She finished before you, and if you finish this workout, you can rest." I'm like, "I want to rest." So I'm going to finish this workout and be a real man. So at one point I was doing this with 20 pounders, and that was a lot for me at that juncture. And I had to stop and use some other ones to finish it, but I got it done. And so then when I was done, I realized my arms were stuck. They were stuck in like this position like this, and I couldn't really move around, and like I couldn't do this. I was just like, my arms.
You were like a T-Rex.
I was like a T-Rex. And so then I went to work, and I had a shower, and I put my clothes on somehow, and I could barely do it, but I did it. And then the weekend was really horrible, and I was in pain, and I kind of was moaning and groaning in my sleep and waking Lauren up. And
I was like, in the middle of the night, I heard him moaning and groaning, and I'm like, "You're never doing a workout like that again! Like, that is ridiculous!"
And I said, "Go back to sleep, you're dreaming." But she wasn't dreaming. So then, okay, so on Sunday evening, after intense discomfort for the majority of the weekend, I was leaving on a flight overseas to Germany, and I was
for work,
right? I was flying there for work, and I had some meetings to attend to, and my boss and I were in the Air Canada lounge, and I just finished drinking a can of Sprite because I was thirsty, and I was like, better just go visit the bathroom before I get on the plane. And so went to the bathroom and stood at the urinal and realized that I was peeing a brown substance, and that worried me. And I didn't know what was happening, and I didn't really make the connection that these two things were connected. But I went quickly back to my seat and did a little online research and realized that this was rhabdomyolysis, and Lauren had kind of talked to me about that a little bit, and I realized, okay, this is for real and I have it, so I better figure out what to do.
What is rhabdomyolysis?
Oh, it's the breakdown of muscle protein into the bloodstream after severe muscle injury.
So they also call it like crush syndrome, I think, where like people get crushed in earthquakes or like in a football game, they get smashed into, and it like actually like ruins your muscles. And it fills your kidneys with junk.
So all of this muscle protein goes into your blood, and then your kidneys can't really filter it because it's too thick, and it causes a lot of problems. So,
like renal failure.
Right, like renal failure or death or things of that nature. So I was reading about this at the time, using my phone and quickly trying to get the information I needed before I got on board, and I was wondering, like, should I go on this trip or should I not? And this was kind of my first overseas trip with the new company that I was working with, and the subject matter of the meetings was such that I should be there, and my boss was expecting me to be there, and I felt like staying home would be a career limiting move in some respects. So I did a lot of research. I'm like, what is this? I realized that you need to be hooked up to an IV and have fluids kind of pushed through so this stuff doesn't get all stuck in your kidneys.
Yeah, they put like 12 liters of fluid in you a day to try and heal a person from this rhabdo.
Yeah. So I talked to my boss quickly. I'm like, hey, I've got this this problem, and I explained to him what happened in the bathroom and what I've read about on Wikipedia and other websites, and he kind of said, you know what, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I wouldn't worry about it. I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, I won't worry about it, but I was worrying about it. And so then we got on the plane, and I'm still sitting there. I'm kind of sitting there in my seat, like rubbing my giant arms and just trying to feel like where are my normal arms, and like trying to feel my elbow, and I can't feel it, and
swelled up,
and they become so swollen over that couple days that they were giant balloons of whatever. And so I'm really uncomfortable and in pain and worried about what happens when I take off on a 10-hour plane ride at a high altitude. Are my arms going to explode? I don't know. And so I decided that, you know what, if something bad happens to me, I'll just cover my bases. I'll tell my boss one more time, I have this thing, what should I do? And he was like, you should stay. You should probably go on the trip. I'm like, okay, I'll go. And so I texted Lauren, and I'm like, I love you. I'll see you later.
I'm like, what? I already said goodbye to you. What is this about? Anyway.
Yeah. So just making sure things are okay. And I thought to myself, if worse comes to worse, I'll just, and like my arms explode or something crazy happens, I'll just fall down in the aisle and a stewardess will come and help me. It'll be so easy. And so with those things in mind, we took off, and pardon me. And so then I decided that my treatment on board would be drinking a lot of water. And luckily I had a bottle of water by my seat because I was in business class, and so I kept drinking water. I drank as much water as possible to self-administer my IV treatment. So I drank and drank and drank and drank and drank, and I went to the bathroom over and over and over again, and it was kind of starting to clear up a little bit, but not a lot. And so I was on the flight. I'm here for I'm going to be in Germany for the week, so I better figure out how I'm going to get some sleep and be prepared. And so I brought some sleeping pills with me just to prepare for situations where jet lag would be a problem in helping me sleep. I reached sort of 9 o'clock, and nothing had really developed in terms of an emergency. And so I said to myself, well, I can stay up all night and worry, or I can take a sleeping pill and go to sleep and just die peacefully in my sleep instead. And so I opted for the second option, and I took the pill and slept for the night and woke up, and I was still alive. So that was a positive sign. My arms were still in horrible pain, but and they were huge. But you know what? Here I am. So that's good. So one mistake I made in planning for this trip was I took a garment bag as my luggage instead of a normal rolling suitcase. So I had to haul this thing around the train station and the airport. And
that's like a bag where you put the suit in and it folds over, and then you put it over your arm instead of like something that rolls.
Yeah. So that was excruciating pain, and my boss was just like, "Let's go," and he's like walking ahead super fast. And I'm like, "Oh, I can't do it." But I kept going, and so we got through the airport. We boarded a train. We got to our hotel. And I decided to go to the bathroom again because I had to go. And I started peeing brown again. And that's not so good. So I got a picture of what it looked like. I saved it in a glass. This is what it looked like. I don't know if you can see that. But it's
like Coca-Cola.
It's not really
Don't drink
typical,
that. Don't drink that.
It's not really your typical pea color. So anyway, that's what it looked like. So I took a picture of it, and I went to my boss's room. I'm like, hey, check this out. And I showed him the picture. And I'm like, you want to go to a hospital now? And he said, sure, okay. So we asked the concierge at the hotel, where's the nearest hospital, in English? And they directed us a few blocks away, and so we went to this hospital, and I went up to the window, and I was kind of confused because there were some people kind of sitting around there in wheelchairs, and they were wearing housecoats, some elderly people, and they were just staring, and they weren't doing anything. I'm like, what are they doing over there?
Like a mental hospital?
Yeah. And there were people screaming in the background, like in the back room somewhere. I'm like, this doesn't seem right. And so I showed this picture that I took, and I showed them the Wikipedia page at the front window. I'm like, I have this. Can you help me? And they kind of looked at it for a long time. They kind of congregated around and looked at it, and then they gave me a little slip of paper that said urology in German on it. And so and it had an address for a different hospital that wasn't a mental hospital. So then we drove for half an hour to this other hospital outside of the city, and I got to see a specialist there who took a sample again of my urine and analyzed it, and had many phone conversations with his colleagues, and did a lot of testing on me, and did some ultrasound on my vital organs, and decided that there was no blood in there and everything seemed okay. So he advised me to continue to drink a lot of water and don't do any more exercise.
Did he say it with a German accent?
Yeah, he hardly spoke any English, actually. So it was hard to communicate. I was kind of like, I was working out. And he's like, you were what? Oh. But then we kind of communicated that way and figured it out. And then he said, drink a lot of water, no exercise. And so I was given a semi-clean bill of health and sent on my way. And then...
But how was it the rest of the week?
The rest of the week was agony because I couldn't lift my arms up to put on a tie. I could go this far no matter what. I could only go this far, and so to eat, I would pick up my fork and I would have to put my head down and eat the food. And I think the colleagues that I was meeting with there for the first time thought I was kind of crazy. But it was a painful week, but I got through it.
And then how long did the effects last? That was a long, long time.
Yeah, I would say it took me 2 or 3 months to feel normal again. I had a lot of fatigue and still soreness in my arms, and
like you'd just be like laying on the couch at night, and that's not really like you. And you also seemed really afraid of like working out again. Like it was like
yeah, I didn't really like that idea.
It was like a traumatic experience.
Yeah, so then and I had a lot of sort of random sort of sharp kidney pain, and just my kidneys just felt like dirty sponges or something.
There was junk in there,
yeah,
rattling around.
Yeah. So it took me a while to recover, and even after a couple weeks, I went to the doctor. My CK levels were still kind of off the charts, indicating severe muscle damage. So, all in all, it was a very interesting and eventful experience, and the international travel introduced into the rhabdomyolysis situation certainly provided some excitement for everyone involved, and my boss still thinks back fondly on the experience and reminds me about it. So do my coworkers.
Well, because you survived, but
yeah, I would say if this happens to you, like just probably go to the hospital instead of getting on the plane, because that would be safer.
And also know your limits. Like when it comes to working out, if you get shaky, don't be a hero.
Yeah.
You know, just know your body, know what maybe you can and can't do, and don't rush into things super quickly. Don't do a marathon when you only train for a 10K, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I think the moral of the story is your body can do amazing things, and so can your mind, but that doesn't mean you should all the time. You know, those Powerade commercials where it's like, just power through! You know, like, ugh.
Careful.
Just
people who are doing those like handstand push-ups and all these crazy moves, like there can be some long-term injuries from this stuff. So just be careful.
I powered through, but it wasn't the best idea. So that's kind of my story, and hope you like it, and I hope something like that never happens to you. Bye.
Bye.